Pause a moment and look around you. People run to jobs they hate, to buy things they don't need, trying to fill a void that never disappears. The world is a cruel machine that crushes dreams and spits out frustrations. From the moment we are born, we are condemned to an existence marked by pain, desire, and in the end, by forgetfulness. Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the most pessimistic philosophers in history, saw this reality without filters. For him, life is not a gift, but a burden. Suffering is the substance of existence, and pleasure, when it exists, is only the temporary easing of pain. In his words, life swings like a pendulum between suffering and boredom. Everything we pursue, love, money, recognition, is nothing but an attempt to escape the void. If we get what we want, we fall into boredom. If we fail, we drown in frustration. And the worst part? In the end, none of it matters, because death awaits us as the great leveler, indifferent to our suffering or achievements. But this thought is not just abstract philosophy, it's proven every single day in real life. Look at human history. Endless wars, relentless diseases, people who spend their entire lives fighting for crumbs. Suffering is the essence of everything, and ignoring it is just self-deception. In this video, we are going to explore this brutal vision of Schopenhauer and understand why human existence is, above all, a great cycle of frustration. We will see how desire imprisons us, how nature is indifferent to our suffering, and how modern science confirms that the human mind is biologically programmed for unhappiness. Are you ready to face the truth without masks? Imagine a dog running in circles, chasing its own tail. It spins, it struggles, it almost reaches it, yet never catches it. If by chance it bites the tip, it feels a moment of relief, but soon pain appears and the cycle restarts. Now, replace the dog with any human being and the tail with what we call happiness. This is the mechanism of life, an endless chase for something that never truly satisfies us. Schopenhauer understood this better than anyone. For him, life is governed by a cruel principle. Desire is the root of suffering. Everything we want, everything we seek, comes from a lack, an absence, and this absence torments us. We want money because we don't have enough. We want love because we feel lonely. We want recognition because we fear being insignificant. Desire moves us, but it also tortures us. Wanting itself is essentially suffering, Schopenhauer said. Now, suppose that, by luck or extreme effort, you manage to get what you desire. You finally win the person you love, buy that dream car, gain fame or money. And then what happens? The pleasure you feel when achieving a goal is brief, almost fleeting. The initial excitement fades quickly, and a new emptiness takes its place. Soon, you need something else to fill that existential hole. If before you wanted a car, now you want a house. If before you wanted love, now you want to be idolized. And so the cycle continues. Schopenhauer described this trap as a kind of psychological prison. Humanity lives between two equally miserable states: the suffering of lack, when we desire and cannot achieve, and the boredom of conquest, when we achieve and realize it didn't complete us. Life therefore oscillates between pain and emptiness. There is no middle ground. Just look at the world to confirm this truth. How many times have we heard of celebrities who had everything, money, fame, beauty, yet fell into depression? Robin Williams, one of the greatest comedians of all time, who made millions laugh, committed suicide. Anthony Bourdain, who traveled the world tasting pleasures, did too. They had everything people dream of and still found no peace. Schopenhauer would not be surprised. For him, extreme wealth and fame are not shortcuts to happiness, but traps for despair. When there's nothing left to desire, only emptiness remains. Wealth is like seawater. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. If this vision already seems dark, modern science only reinforces it. Our brain is programmed to never be satisfied. The dopamine system, responsible for pleasure, works cruelly. It releases pleasure before the achievement. But once we get what we want, the excitement disappears quickly. The result? An endless restart. That is why people get addicted to gambling, drugs, social media. The illusion that the next reward will be different keeps us trapped like rats in an endless experiment. So if life is a machine of frustration, how do we deal with it? Schopenhauer's answer is as brutal as it's logical. The only way out is to reduce desire as much as possible. The less you want, the less you suffer. But is this even possible? In the next chapter, we will explore the cruelty of nature itself and understand why the world seems designed for suffering. If there's one thing humanity refuses to accept, it's that the universe simply doesn't care. We like to believe life has a purpose, that there is cosmic justice, that suffering leads to some reward. But the raw truth is that existence follows its own rules, and those rules were not made for our benefit. Schopenhauer saw this with brutal clarity. The world is a blind mechanism of pain and survival. Nature does not care about our happiness, our pain, or our dreams. What it wants, if we can even use that word, is only the continuity of life. And life, as he said, is an endless chain of suffering. Nature is always true and never good or bad. It is indifferent. From childhood, we are taught to admire nature, the blue sky, green fields, majestic mountains. But this naive view ignores the brutal reality of existence. The forest may look beautiful, but inside it predators tear apart prey, diseases consume bodies, and newborn animals are devoured before they can walk. Schopenhauer saw nature as a spectacle of horror, where every being fights to exist at the cost of another. For him, life is a ruthless survival game, and everything we call beauty is just a thin coat of varnish over the world's rot. If we want to measure the happiness of any creature, we shouldn't ask about the pleasure it enjoys, but about the pain it suffers. Pleasure is merely the temporary absence of pain, and when we look closely, we see that pain is the true substance of the world. If suffering were rare, a tragic exception, perhaps there would be hope, but suffering is the rule. All living beings, at some point, are crushed by the weight of existence. Think about what it means to be human. From birth, we are fragile, dependent, subject to hunger, cold, fear. We grow and are conditioned to chase status, money, acceptance, an infinite pursuit with no lasting reward. We age, watch our bodies decay, our memories fail, our loved ones disappear. And in the end, we die, often slowly, alone, painfully. No living being escapes this fate. Nature forces us to exist and then destroys us without mercy. If nature were just or benevolent, what would explain the existence of monstrous diseases? Why do babies die within days? Why do some people spend their entire lives trapped in paralyzed or pain-ridden bodies? Stephen Hawking's story is often told as a triumph of the human spirit, but let's be honest. A brilliant man condemned to watch his body rot while his mind stayed intact. If the universe had any kindness at all, this would never happen. And we don't have to look only at humans. The animal kingdom is a nightmare of agony. Turtle hatchlings are born only to be devoured before touching the sea. Wildebeests are torn alive by lions who have no choice but to kill. Insects have their bodies parasitized, eaten from the inside out. This is nature, not the green paradise from documentaries, but a machine of suffering. Life is a business that does not cover its costs. Schopenhauer was right. Suffering is not a glitch in the system. It is the system. Modern biology confirms this. Life is driven by the instinct to survive, and that instinct produces suffering. If creatures did not feel hunger, fear, pain, they wouldn't fight to live. If humans did not feel desire, anxiety, dissatisfaction, we wouldn't chase food, sex, money, and the species would disappear. Suffering is the glue that keeps life functioning. The fear of death forces us to struggle. The pain of desire forces us to move. But the cost is that we become prisoners of this mechanism, unable to escape the cycle. And if nature doesn't care about us, then what remains? How do we live under this cruel indifference? In the next chapter, we explore humanity's desperate escape from truth and how every attempt to find meaning only sinks us deeper into despair. If all of us knew the truth, few would continue living. The world is suffering, nature is indifferent, and happiness is an illusion. So how do we go on? How do billions wake up, go to work, fall in love, make plans, and act as though life has meaning? The answer is brutal. Lies. Humanity survives because it deceives itself. We create comforting narratives, ideologies, religions, dreams of progress, all to mask the fact that we're trapped in a useless cycle of pain and frustration. Since ancient times, religion has been the supreme anesthetic. The promise of heaven, divine justice, higher purpose gave hope to those who suffered. But for Schopenhauer, religion is nothing more than necessary self-deception. Ordinary people need to believe suffering has meaning, that there will be justice after death, because facing reality would be unbearable. But here is the truth. There is no one watching us, no higher entity rewarding good actions, no prize waiting at the end. The pain we feel has no purpose. It's just a consequence of existence. If God exists and is just, why is there random suffering? Why do children die in war zones? Why do diseases destroy lives without criteria? Why is human history full of genocide, slavery, misery? If there is a creator, he is cruel or at best indifferent. If God made this world, I would not want to be that God, for the misery of the world would break my heart. When religion begins to fail, modern society offers another lie: progress. We are told to work, achieve, build something. They say life has meaning because we can leave a legacy. But this is just another trick to keep us occupied. The truth, work is just a distraction. We spend our entire lives chasing money, promotions, recognition, and what do we get? A retirement in which we wait for death. Human progress is not a victory over suffering, it amplifies it. We create technologies to live longer, only to spend more years fighting diseases. We increase productivity, only to be exploited more intensely. And even when we achieve something, boredom returns quickly and pushes us toward another goal. Human life revolves around pain, the way Earth revolves around the sun. Then we have the greatest illusion of all, love. We are taught that love is the meaning of life, that finding the right person brings happiness. But Schopenhauer saw love differently, as a biological trick. We love not because there is anything divine in love, but because nature programmed us to. Love is nothing more than an evolutionary mechanism for reproduction. We feel attraction, desire, passion, because life wants to replicate itself. But like every other desire, love condemns us to suffering. If we are rejected, we suffer. If we succeed, we soon grow bored. If we remain in love, we face jealousy, fights, routine, disappointment. Even the happiest couples are ultimately separated by death. Isn't it strange that the thing we romanticize the most is also the greatest source of pain? Modern neuroscience confirms what Schopenhauer intuited. The mind is programmed to deceive itself. The brain has mechanisms to ignore painful truths. When confronted with unbearable reality, it activates chemical responses to distort it. That is why we keep living even when we know the end is unavoidable. Dopamine gives us false hope. Serotonin makes us accept the unacceptable. The limbic system forces us to attach to things and people, even though everything is temporary. Illusion is not a bug, it is the system. Man can indeed do what he wants, but he cannot will what he wants. And if all this is a cruel game, how do we respond? How do we live knowing we are prisoners of suffering and lies? In the next chapter, we explore the final despair, the moment the mask falls and man realizes there is no escape. There comes a moment in life when everything turns silent. The noise of the world, the distractions, the empty promises all disappear, and for an instant, truth appears naked, without adornments. What remains? Only the void. Most people avoid this moment at all costs. They stay busy, entertained, running around, consuming information, drowning in social media, drugs, work, relationships, anything to avoid facing what lies behind the curtain of existence. But sooner or later, the silence arrives. In a dark bedroom, at a funeral,
or in the realization that no matter what we do, time destroys everything mercilessly. Man is a metaphysical animal, and when he confronts the emptiness of existence, his first reaction is despair. For some, this realization comes in childhood. Children who suddenly understand their parents will also die. For others, it appears in youth, when they realize every passing second is a step toward the end. Adults feel it too, after achieving everything they ever wanted, yet feeling more empty than ever. When illusion cracks, what is left? The certainty that everything is temporary. The shock of realizing nothing really matters. The anguish of knowing no one escapes. Schopenhauer called this the awakening of the tragic spirit. The moment consciousness realizes that life has no meaning, that all struggles were useless, that happiness is only an interval between sufferings. Life is like a bad play whose final act is always the same: death. If we look at history, it becomes even harder to deny this truth. The 20th century was a stage of genocides, wars, atomic bombs. Millions died believing in flags that were soon forgotten. Empires rose and fell, leaving behind nothing but ruins. Even the victors lost. Napoleon died exiled and sick. Caesar was stabbed by those he called allies. Kings and emperors spent their lives accumulating riches that would later be inherited by strangers. Life always laughs last. Today is no different. People spend years studying for careers they hate, work until exhaustion to buy things they won't have time to enjoy, build families that will one day disappear without a trace. Time devours everything. Life is a loan taken back with absurd interest. Many cannot bear this truth. When they realize existence is a dead end, they surrender to despair. Depression, anxiety, suicide, all are responses to the absurdity of life. And if civilization keeps us busy to avoid thinking, what happens when someone faces the void? The cases are many. Brilliant writers like Ernest Hemingway and Virginia Woolf, who understood the truth and chose to leave the game. Philosophers like Kurt Gödel, who after a lifetime of reasoning chose to starve himself rather than continue living. Even ordinary people who simply one day see no reason to get out of bed. The void consumes, awareness destroys, and there is no escape. Some philosophies tried to offer answers. Nietzsche said, we should create our own meaning. Camus said, we should embrace the absurd and live despite the lack of purpose. But for Schopenhauer, all of that is just more deception. The only real escape, according to him, is to reduce our participation in the game of life to the minimum. To desire nothing, to expect nothing. To live as minimally as possible, like a monk who abandons all illusions and accept nothingness. But who can actually do this? If life is suffering and there is no escape, then what does science say? In the next chapter, we will see how modern studies confirm that unhappiness is not an accident. It is the natural state of the human being. Pain is not a mistake. It is not an accident. It is not a failure in the system. It is the system. The human being was designed to suffer, not by an evil creator, not by divine punishment, but by the very logic of existence. Suffering is not a detail of life. It is what keeps life running. Schopenhauer, with his relentless philosophy, already knew this before modern science proved it. For him, humans are slaves to their desires, condemned to eternal frustration. What he perhaps didn't know is that our own brain was molded to keep us unhappy. Most people believe they can choose to be happy, that they can change their destiny, that with effort, positive thinking, or a new goal, things will be fine. But neuroscience destroys this cruel illusion. The human mind is controlled by unconscious processes. Happiness was never an evolutionary priority. Your brain was not designed to make you happy. It was designed for survival. That means you will always feel fear because fear keeps you alert. You will always desire more because desire keeps you running after resources. You will never be satisfied because satisfaction leads to stagnation. The concept of happiness is a biological fraud. Pleasure exists only as a small temporary reward.
a trick to keep you running, but it quickly disappears and the emptiness returns. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure, is not released when you achieve something, but when you are pursuing something. That is why the anticipation of a desire is more pleasurable than its fulfillment. When you finally get what you want, the brain simply reduces the reward and creates a new desire. Life keeps you hungry forever. If this already sounds cruel, it gets worse. The human brain not only prevents happiness, it actively torments us. Evolutionary psychology explains that we are programmed to focus on the negative. This mechanism, called the negativity bias, makes bad experiences weigh more than good ones. An insult hurts more than a compliment comforts. A loss impacts more than a gain of the same magnitude. Fear of failure is stronger than joy of success. This was useful in the past. A single mistake could mean death. But today, it is a burden. We live on alert, anxious, distressed, searching for problems that may not even exist. And this doesn't even include consciousness, the unique curse of humans. While an animal lives only in the present, we torture ourselves with the past and fear the future. Schopenhauer predicted it. Man is the only animal that feels pain twice, when it happens and when he anticipates it. But the greatest human tragedy is another. We are condemned to think. The self-awareness we praise as a virtue is also our greatest punishment. An animal feels pain and forgets it. A human relives it endlessly, retelling stories, replaying failures, feeding fears. And how do we deal with this? With distractions. Work, love, entertainment, all to keep us away from ourselves. But at the end of the day, when we are alone, the truth returns. Nothing can fill the void. If all this wasn't devastating enough, the greatest blow is still to come. In the end, no matter what we do, we lose. The brain that tortures us our entire life one day simply begins to fail. We lose memories, abilities, identity. The machine that tormented us slowly breaks down before discarding us. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, degenerative diseases, all proof that the mind we value so much is just a piece of flesh with an expiration date. Death is not just possible, it is inevitable. And in the end, it is the only certainty. If Schopenhauer was right, if science confirms it, if there is no escape, then what remains? The answer is brutally simple. Nothing. You can try to fool yourself like everyone else, create artificial goals, pretend there is meaning, or you can accept the inevitable and simply watch the spectacle of existence without getting too involved. The truth is, life never cared what you think of it. Are you going to keep pretending everything is fine, or finally accept the absurd? The only redemption is the negation of desire. And so we end where we began. Life is shit, and then you die. Life is an illusion. You already noticed it. The world tricked you from the start, gave you false promises, false hopes. In the end, everything leads to the same inevitable destiny. But here on this channel, we don't run from the truth. We don't hide the absurdity of existence. We don't sell comforting lies. If you reach this far, it's because you already feel that something is wrong with the world. And we're here to explore it together. Now the question, will you continue living on autopilot, or will you deepen your understanding of reality? Become a channel member and gain access to exclusive content, deeper discussions, unpublished analyses, a community that refuses illusions. If you feel you don't belong in this world of superficial optimism, this is your place. Support with a super thanks. Show that you value truth in a world where everyone tries to distract and numb you. This channel exists to remind you of what really matters, understanding reality as it is, not as they want you to believe. The question is simple. Will you keep pretending everything is fine, or will you join us to face the truth without fear? The decision is yours. Become a member, use super thanks, or keep living in the lie.